My dad is taking on a huge football manager challenge. Starting with a non-league team, he's on a mission to turn them into Premier League winners. And with us being from the southwest, he's decided to choose Yeovil Town. Talk about cheating, you naughty scoundrels. How many seasons do you think it will take my dad to win the Premier League trophy with Yeovil Town? Drop your guesses in the comments. Now, although dad does have his work cut out being in the 5th tier of English football, Yeovil Town are one of the biggest clubs and are predicted to finish 11th mid-table in the first season. And as finances go in non-league, having £2 million in the bank is quite good, but zero transfer budget has meant that he hasn't been able to bring many players in, with just the one free transfer in Callum Cook, a decent midfielder for this level, but not exactly pulling up trees. Now, I can't say I've seen this tactic utilised many times, but an asymmetric 4-1-4-1 here for Dad, with his new signing Cook at the heart of the midfield, but starman Josh Sims on the left-hand side is what Dad's going to be looking for some creativeness up front. And although we are questioning the shape and how dumb it does look, you can't deny results, because the first game that Dad decided to use this, they won 2-0 against Dagenham Redbridge. As you've seen as well, Sims got that assist, and it was a fantastic performance, albeit at home, with 21 shots to their 5 and not allowing Dagenham Redbridge to even get a shot on target. The results so far at the start of the season has been great. He's unbeaten, won 3 out of 4, and a draw away from home against Forest Green, who are one of the favourites to go up from this division. It's not bad, but Dad has changed his tactic from a conventional 4-4-2 quite early on. And so let's find out a little bit more about his thought process behind this and how he figures his chances are of winning the Premier League with Yeovil. Okay, Dad, so you changed tactic recently.
Yeah.
Thoughts behind why you did that?
The three players I got in midfield, especially the two beyond the striker, I needed to get both of them in the game, but also Cookie. I needed to get Cookie into the midfield for me as well.
Yeah.
So I tried to come up with a tactic with all three of them in, and this is the one that I came up with in the end, really. So I got all the players I wanted, because I did want Jarvis to be up front on his own as well. So
yeah.
The other two are supporting him, really. And so that was the reason why I changed it, really, just to try and get the two further up the field.
Okay.
As well, yeah.
Thoughts then overall, Yeovil Town from the Vanarama National League to win the Premier League.
You do not give me no task, don't you? It's going to be hard. I'm going to give it a go, and I must admit, because they're one of our local teams, they're not far from us, really. I'm looking forward to the challenge, put it that way. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be like, I'm going to have to change the training facilities. I'm going to have to change the staff behind me, change the coaching staff definitely as I'm going through the leagues. Because the better caliber player I'm getting in, the better coaches I've got to get in, and they're going to be moaning to me as well about it. So
things that you're not necessarily used to.
No, I don't.
You haven't really done a lot of non-league stuff.
No. So yeah, it's all things I've got to be thinking beyond the screens as well as what goes on the pitch.
All right then, well, let's see how you get on in this first season. Now, I was very curious to see how Yeovil coped with this change of tactic going into the season, but it seemed to do quite well in the FA Cup. They got to the 4th round and was the final Vanarama National League team, or non-league team in general, to get to this point, only losing to Stockport County 2-1, who are 2 divisions above them. Of course, they were flying at the start of the season, but this is the most difficult division to get out of in terms of numbers, with only 2 promotions in the whole division. And with first place being the only automatic promotion, the other going into the playoff, Dad really needed to get in that first spot, and that's exactly what he did. Champions of the Vanarama National League in Season 1, the first promotion of hopefully many, getting himself to the Premier League. Dad, you got to be happy with that, because I mean, finishing in 2nd place for Ebbsfleet has still worked out. They still got promoted via the playoffs, but how many times have we seen
you don't want to take
2nd place not getting promoted because of the playoffs positions?
I mean, I'm chuffed to bits. My goal difference made the difference as well. I obviously scored a lot more goals than everybody else, so 5 points clear. Only lost 6 games. Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits. It's better than I thought it was going to do for the first season, put it that way. Yeah,
Jordan Young as well, getting 25 goals. Not necessarily the striker you thought.
No.
Was going to be scoring the goals. In fact, it was more of an attacking midfielder. But yeah, done you proud. 30 goals in total, 16 assists across the season. Aaron Jarvis did get you 17 goals, which was good for that striker position. Obviously, you wanted to get Cookie in the side. He did get in the side and played really well. That was your only signing, of course, this summer. So overall, Really fantastic stuff in season number 1. Just what you needed to kick this challenge on. There's no good lingering around what is possibly
definitely
the hardest division to get out of. This and the championship is going to be the 2 difficult ones.
Yeah,
you got one of them out of the way early.
And I'm just chuffed with Jordan Young as well, because there's a player I didn't actually put into the team, but he come through and scored that many goals to you. It's a little bit of a surprise for you, really, isn't it?
You're playing that attacking midfield
and you need that sometimes just for a little bit more help.
Yeah. Transfer budget for next season is quite surprising. £1.3 million it's not bad at all.
I'm really chuffed with that, to be honest with you, because you can pick up the little bargains really that sort of just make yourself a little bit better.
Yeah,
and that gives me a chance then. Really,
what I would be doing is this, because you need less money in the transfer budget, more in the wages.
Yeah,
that's the interesting.
I'm definitely going to be looking for any freebies that are around as well. Anybody who's coming in the contract's definitely in your higher league, probably try and come down and even try and get a loan deal if I can. Anybody,
a loan or two is great at that point. So let's see who you bring in. Dad began the transfer window as predictable as ever, signing himself a goalkeeper in George Sykes-Kenworthy, a decent keeper for this League 2 level, and only picking him up for 130k from York City. More signings came through the door, and we've got a couple of players who are certainly good enough for the level, but I think this is where Dad starts to show his inexperience in the lower leagues, relying too much on free players and even buying players instead of possibly looking for the loan deals, which could really help you fly up the divisions. The worst bit of business I felt though was selling Josh Sims to Queen's Park in Scotland. I didn't feel like he really needed to, but for 500k he decided to accept the bid. I think just keeping him would have been a much better option. The best player he brought in though was Luke Robinson, and not because he's a fantastic player, but it's because it's the same name as me. Dad not only ticked off signing a goalkeeper in this transfer window, but he also ticked off changing his tactic, living up to his Tinkerman name, moving to a 4-4-2, but with one player in the attacking midfield role, and that is Young. Despite being newly promoted, Yeovil are predicted to finish in 17th place this season, but Dad is defying the odds. He's won all 5 of his League 2 fixtures at the start of the season, and although they're already out of the EFL Cup second round, that's not really a priority right now for Dad. And even though he has decided to sell his best player, change his title-winning tactic, things seem to be going quite well for him here at Yeovil Town in the second season. Prioritising the League 2 fixtures over any cup fixtures, Dad's tactic seems to be so direct, and it just seems to be working at this level in League 2. And other than a couple of rough patches in the October period and around the winter period, a strong end to the season sees Yeovil Town near the top of the table, securing in fact back-to-back league titles. Despite there being 4 promotion spots, Dad didn't need any of the playoff business. 99 points, 10 points ahead of Colchester in second place. Now that is a solid season. Back-to-back promotions is very hard to do, but
I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
And I haven't just won the league, I've won it quite comfortably as well.
Definitely.
Only losing 5 games. I mean, I drew 12 games, I was getting really drawing these games, but only lose 5 games and win them by 10 points. Oh, I'm so chuffed, mate. I couldn't believe my luck, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah. New signing Ethan Beckford was also in with the goals. He was the second, technically, highest top goal scorer. And I thought it was really risky because you did sell your best player, Sims.
Yeah, I did. But
and completely just left that role and went 2 up top, went for it this year. Paid off. That was
I mean, you know what I'm like. I'm more of an attacking person, so I wanted the second player up front. So yeah, I got a good price for him. I think he wanted to go as well. So it was a case of, all right, let him go, but just stick to what I had already. I know I bought the defensive midfield player up and sort of made the midfield a little bit more stronger.
Yeah,
so.
And you're on a defensive mentality, so the players are thinking about being defensive, but there's enough attacking threats there to get the job done. And I think that's exactly the reason why. I mean, you can see even statistically, fewest conceded, most clean sheets was Yeovil Town. So, all right, you didn't score the most goals, which you're only 3 off.
Yeah.
But, hey, goals win you games. Defence win you titles. And you were the champions.
And I was best at both.
Yeah. The only trouble is, I mean, you had £1.5 million going into this division. You're going up a division now into Sky Bet League 1, and they're giving you less. So it's working with what you got now.
Yeah. And I struggle to get any loanings players in as well because the players didn't want to come down that far of the league.
Yeah.
And the better league you get into, I still couldn't get any Premier League players. They weren't even interested in coming anywhere near me. I might get a couple Premier League players this time.
Yes.
But I can definitely get Championship players. They'll definitely come down to me.
Yeah.
So it gives me a bit more of a chance to get a couple of loanies as well.
Okay, let's find out. In the summer transfer window of season number 3, just one man was bought for any kind of money, in Omar Rekic, who joined from Notts County for 140k. He was joined with 4 other players here who have arrived at Yeovil Town, with no players going out this time, which is good to see. However, the level of players being brought in is kind of questionable. There's some players who I really don't think are good enough, and some players actually who are cracking signings like Elkan Baggett. Things are inevitable though. Dad has signed a keeper in Alfie Whiteman, and Lloyd Jones is the final signing here, another cracking centre-back to join the club that can really help Dad progress through the league. Another thing's inevitable though, it's a change of tactic, of course it is. The opening day of the season, there was a tough fixture away at Huddersfield, and actually quite a good performance. It was a 0-0 draw, but you can see from the statistics, Yeovil Town kind of deserved the win. And it was a sign of good things to come, as striker Gad Jager was on the score sheet again and again, bagging himself a brace in the following fixture against Doncaster. And for a player that cost Dad just £10 the season before,
nice.
That ain't bad, considering he got 11 goals last season. He's got 3 and 1 assists in 5 games at the start of this season in the higher division. And after back-to-back promotions, it's no surprise to see Yeovil Town 22nd in the season preview predictions. But they are really overachieving, as Dad's team has been flying at the start of the season, only dropping a couple of points in 2 games, and in Sky Bet League 1 are currently in 2nd place, only behind Rotherham. But just when you thought this was becoming all too easy for Dad is just when Yeovil Town started to show signs of being a little bit out of their depth. However, they were just seconds away from eliminating Liverpool from the EFL 3rd round, when Yeovil Town were 2-1 up and Liverpool scored in the 94th and 97th minute. And it's not even like they played a bad team. Some of the Premier League players, world-class players that are in this, and you took them to the 94th minute when you were winning.
I mean, that's
damn that referee for putting on so much added time.
I'm the person who always said I love a late go, but oh no, I don't anymore.
Yeah, how gutted.
It's those things in it. You just know the last 20 minutes you are going to be absolutely bombarded, and it's just a case of holding out, and my players must have died at the end, and just. And hey, great for the fans though.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Hughes Park must have been bouncing. You were 15 minutes in, 1 goal down, and then to pull it back either side of half time, 10 minutes either side of half time, you're like, oh, hello, we're in for a shock here.
90 minutes, we beat them.
Yeah. Oh, so, so unfortunate.
It's great for the morale as well, I feel.
Oh, 100%.
So you're not going to win. We're not going to win the cup in as we are now, so why not quit to one of the best, I think. So yeah, all right, I'll take it. I'm gutted.
Unfortunately for Dad and his Yeovil side, there were just far too many patches of really bad runs in this league campaign for promotion this season. Even still, as a newly promoted side in Sky Bet League 1, finishing in 9th place and only a few points off of the playoffs, was really not too bad at all. Across the squad, we had a few more players who did really well in terms of goals being scored, with 21 from Aaron Jarvis, Jordan Young getting 15, and Ethan Beckford getting 14. But the real positive for Dad is that the board have given him £4.2 million in the summer to spend on new guys coming in. But shockingly this summer, Dad actually struggled to spend it, leaving £2.5 million in the budget. He did somehow bring in a player from Argentina, with Tobias Arganares coming in from River Plate, 21-year-old Argentinian midfielder for 155k. That's a unique signing. Jasper Moon was the only other player that Dad spent some money on, bringing in the English centre-back from Burton Albion, 190k. Not a bad deal, actually. I think he's a really good player for the standard. But the signing I'm most impressed with is the free transfer from Plymouth Argyle, Ryan Hardy. We have highlighted many times on this channel, Ryan Hardy is a goal-scoring machine in the lower leagues. Just his pace, his finishing ability, and likes to beat the offside trap is enough to score a lot of goals in the lower leagues. And straight away at the start of the season, he has already bagged himself a fair amount of goals, of course, in a brand new system for Omega Dad at Yeovil. Just your bog standard 4-4-2 formation, running an advanced forward and a pressing forward up front, with Ryan Hardy, of course, in there. We've got a ball-winning midfielder and an advanced playmaker. Some really good combinations that Dad has put into the side. However, the squad is looking rather small. Is this the season, though, that Dad can pull Yeovil out of Sky Bet League 1? Because the start of the season has been really good in terms of league fixtures, unbeaten after 5 games, top in the league so far. Well, there's no doubt about it. Dad's injury record has cost him this season, and having such a small squad was never going to end well. Because after such a good start to the season, some injuries happened and a lot of losses came because of that. A win every now and then is great, but look how bad some of these runs are, and it has led to the point where Yeovil has fallen down the league table. Remember, they were in first at the start of the season, down into 16th place. Just a really big fall from grace. Well, this injury list, I think, is cost you. This is just one season.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There's not a lot you can do for that when you're a manager. I mean, you let players go. Some players, come the end of contract, don't want to sign for you and all that. So I ended up with a very small squad.
Yeah, just 19 players.
And I couldn't get any more players in. I tried, but they just weren't interested in coming to me. And when that happens, you're in trouble.
Yeah. It's obviously led to the downfall of Yeovil's season, because you're looking at the past preview, of course, you were at the top at the beginning of the season, and it was a huge drop.
Oh, awful, yeah.
Huge.
I'm just glad I managed to survive. Stayed in this league. It's a learning process as well, I can't win the league every season.
No.
And I knew
it's back to back in Sky Bet League One now.
I mean, for me, that was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't believe my luck doing that 2 seasons in a row. I knew this season was going to be an hard one. But when you got injuries as well, you're on hiding for nothing, really. And I had to take it.
That is rather fortunate, though. There's still money in the bank, and the board have backed him with another £1.5 million to try and rectify this problem. Because the struggle is very real. And remember, Dad's main task is to win the Premier League. We still got a fair amount of work to do before he even gets out into the Championship yet. So hopefully the 450k that he spent in this summer, mainly on Kyle Joseph, will be enough, as the new striker looks like a quality player for this level. Already picking up a few goals and linking up quite well with his new strike partner, Ryan Hardy. Only a slight tweak to the tactic going into this season, so let's see what Dad thinks. All right, Dad, change around a little bit. A couple of the player roles, still looking like the 4-4-2 that we had previously.
Yeah.
2 really good strikers up front now, though, with Joseph and Ryan Hardy.
I was taking a bit of a chance with this one, Reddit as well. Got a good 2 strikers up there, but Young he's a good squad player. He can play in a lot of positions, so I'm taking a chance of putting him out wide out there as a winger as well, really. I'm just trying to make the midfield a little bit stronger, but a bit more defensive. Yeah. Just to give it sort of a bit more help, really. And hopefully, with the 2 strikers I've got, because they are good, they'll score the goals for me. That's what my fingers are crossed for. Still a smaller squad, though. Hopefully, we avoid the injury crisis of last season. 2 more players in than I did last season, so I definitely don't need that injury sort of crisis again, so yeah. No, but chance on promotion, I mean, you're down in 17th in terms of season preview. That's where I deserve to be, really. But so, do you fancy causing an upset, really? I would like to think I can get into the playoffs, in and around the playoffs. I don't think I'll get top 2 to go automatic, but I'd like to think I can get close to the playoffs. I think I've got a better squad this time, even though I've only got 2 more players. Yeah. If I don't get that injury problem, I could be all right. Yeah, I agree. Clearly, the new signing of Kyle Joseph was a massive boost that Yeovil Town really needed in this division, as he scored 30 goals in just the league alone, helping Yeovil Town get to the playoffs. And despite even missing the second leg, they still managed to progress to the final. He did, however, bag 2 goals in such a back and forth game in the final at Wembley Stadium, in which both teams scored 4 goals, and it ended up going to penalties. But Peterborough United, with their first penalty kick, chipped it down the middle and missed. And clearly that proved pivotal in Yeovil Town's promotion to the Championship. Not bad at all, considering they were literally 2-0 down after just 5 minutes at Wembley Stadium. But the goals from Kyle Joseph and Ryan Hardy helping the game go to extra time, with Aaron Jarvis getting a late one in extra time, and a 5-4 penalty win sends Yeovil Town into the Championship via the playoffs. I mean, we highlighted them to begin with. Carl Joseph and Ryan Hardy really got the job done this season for you. They were the 2 highest average ratings in the league. Carl Joseph was the top scorer. Oh, couldn't. I'm really chuffed to bits with him. That's what and they got the goals in the final. Yeah, that's what I got there for. I knew they would be a good pair together. I know what Ryan Hardy's like. We know what Ryan Hardy's like. We watch him for real, don't we? And he is that type of striker that you can play off. He holds the ball up well as well. So I'm chuffed to bits with that, really. Yeah, I mean, 81 points. You actually kind of outdone what you predicted. You said of knocking around the playoff positions at 6th down to like 8th place, but 4th place, easily securing it and well-deservedly going up. Beating Peterborough, of course, who were the position above. So only by a cracking final. Only beaten by a point. So I feel that's the best 2 teams that went through to the final, and I'm just chuffed to bits. I've beaten all right, it was on penalties, but you take that, don't you, really?
Yeah. Again, though, Carl Joseph, phenomenal season, 32 goals. Really, really good.
Really pleased. 2 Scottish boys up front as well. That makes
Ryan Hardy actually only played 20 games. It does look like Bassett came in and played the majority.
He might have got injured as well.
More than likely with your record. But yeah, you're in the Championship now, though. You've only got $500,000, which, remember when you got promoted into the Vanarama, from Vanarama National into Sky Bet League 2, you had way more than that. So you're working on a bit of a budget.
Over the experience that I've had with playing this game now, usually when you get in the Championship, you can get the young Premiership players to come to you then quite comfortably. Yeah, so that's what I'll definitely be looking at this time. Fingers crossed I can get a couple of good ones.
Of course, with Dad doing so well with Yeovil Town, a lot of clubs are now trying to get him to come in to interview for their club, but he is just turning them down, of course, with his main goal trying to get Yeovil to the Premier League. I was also certainly sad to see Ryan Hardy had been sold as well. £1.5 million after just 2 seasons at Yeovil, but that second season didn't really get firing. Of course, with Yeovil having such a limited budget, Dad resorted to a couple of free transfers. Norman Bassett looking really good coming back on a freebie. Bennett coming in as well from those wings. And of course, some loan deals. Finally utilising the loan market to really help progress this side without having to spend the money that they necessarily don't have. The new signings coming in, of course, means a new system, as we all kind of expected. But as we can see, it's still going really well, because the beginning of the Championship campaign starts just as the end of the League One campaign finished, with Carl Joseph scoring goals. Norman Bassett has been chipping in as well and bringing in some fantastic results like this 5-0 win against West Brom. And we don't want to speak too soon again, but I mean, Yeovil Town are top of the Championship. It was, however, always going to be difficult stepping up another division and trying to win promotion back to back. Some say this is the hardest division in the world, and some of these results are rather scary. Now, all things considered, Dad, survival was pretty much the main priority.
Yeah, 100%. Pleased with that.
A mid-table finish.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. That's if you were going to say where do you think I'm going to finish, I would have probably said from mid-table downwards. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. When you look at the teams above me, there's some good teams in there, but there's also some good teams below me as well.
Yeah, you didn't exactly spend any money either.
No.
And losing Ryan Hardy, you sold him 1.5 million.
You know what I'm like when players get to the 30 and all that, but I had a good chance of getting another player in on loan from Nottingham Forest, the guy Robinson there, who was a good striker, so I took the money.
Okay, well, going into the next season then, your second season in the Premier League, in the Championship. Again, not a lot of budget. You're going to have to be a bit of a wheeler dealer in the Championship. Maybe there's some value in the squad there, because you're going to have to start finding some goals again. Carl Joseph got 13, 15 from Bassett, 16 from Robinson. Maybe this is a bit too attacking for the side that you've got. We've seen you using a defensive style previously.
I've always done well when I play attacking formations in the Championship, though. Same as when I get into the Premier League. But you've got to have the players that do it.
That's the trouble.
I know what straight away I need another striker, 100%. I've just lost. I had Robinson on loan. He's done well for me, but I can't afford to buy him. So
finding the right loans, I think, is the right
that's what
target.
it is. Yeah.
Well, the master plan of finding the best free transfers that are willing to come to the Championship has worked out quite well. Dad's found some fantastic players, such as Luca Pfeiffer, who actually is 6'5", coming from Plymouth Argyle. But more free transfers in a goalkeeper, and then 3 loan players. This young, amazing centre midfielder could really be a game changer for Dad in that midfield. Gaz Brady is a good backup, but this man, Oliver Crofts from Chelsea, this guy could be pinning your hopes on a promotion spot if he gets firing. One of Dad's favourite tactics is, of course, that 3-striker formation, and he's brought in 3 really good strikers. We're slightly offset with 1 winger in the midfield, but I kind of like this setup, and so far it's been really good, sitting in first place and unbeaten. All 3 of the strikers as well have been chipping in with a lot of goals, and the midfielders have been fantastic in supplying them. It looks like they are all deadly and trying to outdo each other. Just what Dad really needs if he is to gain promotion to the Premier League. One step closer, of course, to lifting the Premier League trophy. So the question is, did Dad get the recruitment right, and is the system good enough to allow Yeovil Town to play around with the big boys next year? Well, Dad, promotion to the Premier League, the promised land.
I'll tell you what, the best I was hoping for was playoffs, but wow, get in there.
Second
comfortably
place.
by 7 points as well. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, the recruitment was on point.
Yeah, I needed another striker. I got one in.
Oliver Crofts got 26 goals, only behind an on loan from Chelsea player that was playing at Stoke. And to be fair, he is the better player if you're looking at his attributes, but also highest average rating in the league. Luca Pfeiffer was behind him by 3 goals. He was also there, 4th place in the highest average rating. It was phenomenal. I mean, really good stuff. Assist-wise, you had 2 of the players in there as well. Overall, it just seems like it was a cracking season. You got the system right. You got the recruitment right. You scored the most goals across the season by 10. Fewest conceded. You weren't there, but you were just the entertaining team that scored the most goals this year.
Yeah, you got to win. You got to score goals to win games, and that's what I was doing.
Yeah, if you had better defensive, you would have won the title.
But no, I'm going to take that. I didn't expect to be that close, really. Well, I didn't expect to be in second. Definitely not.
No. But the big question is now, obviously, you go into the Premier League, you got to replace players like Oliver Crofts, who I very much doubt Chelsea are going to allow you to have again when he looks that good. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
I don't think I'm going to have that budget of that amount, though, and whether I could afford to lose that amount of budget on one player.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were going to try and loan him, maybe, but you'd probably be paying out your ears for him this season.
Yeah, definitely.
But your transfer budget going into the Premier League, 30 million with 300k in the wage budget available.
I'm going to take that.
It's always a nice budget when you go in there.
Definitely, yeah.
It's about spreading it well enough, because I'll be honest, you're going up into the Premier League with a lot of players who are League One level right now. So it's one of those things.
I've overperformed, don't I?
Yeah, I normally say to you, no, Dad, buy 1 or 2 good players for the money instead of 5 or 6 average ones. This is the case where you can't do that.
No. I could possibly do with getting rid of about 3 or 4 as well to get them off the wage budget to allow me to get 4 or 5 sort of decent players, I would say.
I agree.
For that league, yeah.
And it's all about survival in that Premier League.
100%. I mean, I'm looking at now, I'll take 17th.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, 100%.
Once again, though, Dad is being offered interviews at bigger clubs, with Aston Villa this time another Premier League side. But I'm sure Dad is willing to reject this, given that he has the opportunity himself to do something special with this Yeovil team. Dad had £30 million, but he really wanted to make sure he stretched that across as many different players as he possibly could, really improving the side in all aspects of the pitch. And I think he really did a good job of that. A lot of the time, I'm very critical of Dad's transfers, but this season, all I have to do is applaud it, because a lot of signings have come in for very minimal pay, and I'm kind of happy that he's done that this season. This season was the time to get rid of the players that was in League One with you and really boost the squad, bringing in the likes of Nione, who was loaned in last year and helped you get out, and really improve this team. And tactically, he's gone back to something that worked previously. I actually think this is one of the best summers that Dad has had in a long time. The predictions before the season starts, though, is never going to be friendly to Yeovil, with 2,000 to 1. Leicester only 300 to 1 in the position above. And on the first day of the season, although the scoreline doesn't look too bad, only 1-0 at Stamford Bridge, they didn't really create any shots on target, which led to Dad switching around the system, something I don't really like him doing. But weirdly, it worked, and in the next game, they beat Newcastle. Now adopting a 4-2-3-1 with a deeper ball-winning midfielder, this has been absolutely spectacular and gone on a 3-game winning streak in the Premier League, beating Newcastle, Brentford and West Ham 3-0 in that final game, with Michael Noonan, who's come in recently, absolutely obliterating the goals, getting 3 in 4 so far with the newly promoted side. Not bad at all for a player that came from the Irish League for just £1.4 million. But this season is all about survival, and can players who he has used in League One still keep them in the Premier League next year? At this point, you just know every now and then you're going to take a hammerings from time to time. The important thing is to use them as free hits and really grind out and focus on those games which you fancy your chances against the teams in and around the bottom half of the table. But did Dad's Yeovil team do enough to stay in the Premier League for another season on his quest to lift in that Premier League title? Well, if you're looking at that run there, it looks awful. However, you did survive.
Yes, I'll take that.
15th place as well. Yeah, not
2
even
points.
2 points, but
yeah, 1 game.
38 points. People say that cut-off point is the 40-point mark.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get it, but just enough.
Yeah. Oh, please. I mean, I did say I'd take 17th, and I nearly did take 17th. I only beat that by a point.
Yeah.
But it's all first season. It's all about survival.
Exactly.
And you work for that. I know my budget could possibly be better than last season now, so I've just got to work with it now.
Yeah, I praised your recruitment. I thought your recruitment last season was really good, but I think each season your recruitment is more important than the last season.
100%.
That's what it's got to be now.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be better now. You got £38 million in there.
Yeah.
Because you are signing some quality players that were coming in on free transfers. Like Trey Neoni was a fantastic signing who I think you had on loan previously. But like the signings that you were picking up for like 4 or 5 million, a couple of them that you were picking up for like, I mean, Michael Noonan was your top scorer, £1.4 million from the Irish League.
Bargain, isn't he?
Yeah.
Only 22 as well, so that was a bargain, really.
Really good signings.
And, you know, I give my scouts their due. They've done a real good job for me this time. Got a few good players in for me. I'm just chuffed a bit. So I had to make my squad bigger. You said that, and I had to be sort of half decent teams. They've done the job for me.
Yeah.
But now the hard work starts. I've got to be replacing first team players with the players I bring in now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also need to find more goals because your second top scorer only started 6 games, got 4 goals. Michael Noonan, if it wasn't for him,
I'd be
gone.
Yeah.
Luckily for you as well, nobody at the minute is after him. So you could have Michael Noonan for another season and be happy days and just build a team with him in it, around him, to be good enough to keep pushing yourself further and further up the table.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to take... What did I finish 15th? So I'll take 12.
Yeah, £38 million. That gives you at least a couple of free transfers.
Yeah.
1 or 2 big signings. Maybe you can claw in some money from other players going out. Interesting, but very important summer. In Dad's most important summer yet, he decided to start offloading some players that are at a championship level and actually getting some good money for them, allowing him to break the record transfer business for Yeovil twice in 1 week. First off, bringing in Acevedo from Liverpool, a quality centre midfielder, along with Pep from Damac. £33 million for a fantastic left back, a 4.5-star player in terms of his squad. This guy means business. And again, you can't deny that that's 2 back-to-back good windows, because then Dad found an unbelievable goalkeeper for just £1.2 million, a fantastic Colombian young goalkeeper that he can use and develop. Cantillo from Junior, again a youngster, bringing him in quite young, and he's still decent compared to the rest of Dad's squad. And finally, using the loan market, bringing in Garces. Not a game changer, but still could be effective. And Dad's transfer window was good, but the system switching to a 4-4-2 diamond could have been even better. As the first game of the season against Norwich, Dad's Yeovil Town absolutely annihilated them 5-2 with some fantastic goals from the new signings. But it didn't stop there. Acevedo got himself another goal in the next game against Brighton away from home, and even Carl Joseph came back with a 96th minute goal. A player that really transformed Dad's luck in League One all the way through to the Championship, and now in the Premier League he's actually got himself 2 goals in the first 3 appearances with an assist. And yes, alright, Dad's Yeovil team hasn't played any of the big boys yet, but they've won 4 out of 4 in the Premier League and are currently sitting top of it. The good start didn't last throughout the whole season though, because as we got to bigger and better sides, they started to dominate the games and not allowing Dad to even have any shots on target. But there was certainly enough about this Yeovil team to allow them to stay in the Premier League and occasionally cause a couple of upsets against the big boys like Manchester City, stuffing them 4-2 at Hewish Park. And although City got their own back, knocking them out of the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, being eliminated in the 5th round by West Ham in the FA Cup, a 13th place finish in the Premier League is certainly something my dad would have took at the start of the season. Because let's be fair to them, this team is not exactly full of absolute wonder kids or fantastic players just yet, and Dad has now £51 million to try and bring some of those players in next season. And you know what they say about my father? New season, new goalkeeper. Well, 2 for the price of 1 here. £10 million Dion Moosdale, a fantastic goalkeeper if you ask me. But not only that, coming from Boca Juniors for £1.7 million is another goalkeeper, which means now he's got 3 really good goalkeepers, and he's even tried transfer listing this one already. To be honest though, the rest of his transfer window is really good. A lot of players coming in from South America, really utilising the fact that you can pick up some bargains there. £11 million for what I would say is a really good winger. if he decides to play wingers. £2.4 million for this man Mantilla. Again, a winger who looks absolutely insane right now. But then the list of more players keeps coming in and more money being spent, with £36 million going out on, let's face it, players that are definitely not worth what they're going out for. I think actually Dad's transfer business has been really good. I know I mocked him about signing 2 goalkeepers. Yes, here's 2 more, and yes, that's 4 in one transfer window, but the rest of the signings are absolutely fantastic. So yeah, some players are coming in that you don't think he necessarily needs right now, but this striker here, Perilla, is an unbelievable striker. He could be fantastic. And for just £5 million, Joe Bellingham on a free transfer, only aged 26, and he looks like a game-changer player for Dad. Connor Christie coming in for £2.4 million. That's good value for money. And another free transfer that, yeah, again, you've got to say, were worth picking up. And I do think this gets rid of the problem Dad had the last couple of seasons where there was just not enough players. He really now has a good squad, a good balance of squad. I mean, you got 4 goalkeepers for Christ's sake, and he's actually sticking with a system. The 4-4-2 narrow diamond is in play again this year. All right, there's some tweaks to it, but I think it definitely suits the players that he has brought in. He did try experimenting though, changing to a 4-3-3 with his 3-striker formation, but that got a big tonkin against Liverpool at Anfield. However, upon switching to the narrow diamond formation again, they got a lovely little win against Chelsea at Ashton Gate, which, yes, you know, it's not Yeovil Stadium. A temporary location to Ashton Gate is being made. I don't know what's quite happening yet to Hewish Park, but I guess we'll find out. But this is the 10th season and the 3rd in the Premier League, and unfortunately Dad is still going on some really bad runs in the league. However, he has managed to survive after his first half of the season performance, picking up 45 points and finishing in 12th place. It seems like at the minute Dad just cannot get his strikers firing, with Joe Bellingham scoring the most goals from midfield. However, the transfer budget is another £77 million. This Yeovil board are really backing Dad in the transfer windows lately. Fantastic news for the club though. Just as the season has ended, the new stadium expansion has been increased by 5,000, leaving us now with Hewish Park having a 15,000-seater stadium. And in the summer, Dad continues to sell players for really good prices. £30 million to Sunderland for a player that he signed for 550k. No surprises either that one of the first players in the door was a goalkeeper. Kane Lee joined on a freebie from West Brom, and you can't deny that he is absolutely exceptional. The rest of the transfer window was full of 2 free transfers and then players that Dad has signed from Wolves, with 3 players in total coming in from the club. Andre being signed for £35 million is quite expensive for his age, and of course a change of system. We're going back to asymmetric with new signing Carlos Enrique nailed into that advanced playmaker role. Dad, talk to me. 5 goalies in 2 seasons?
You know what I'm like for finding a goalkeeper. If I find a good one, I've got to get him, especially if they're not too much of a price as well. As long as I'm improving each time with each keeper.
Yeah.
And I do like to have 2 good keepers. I hate it. I hate signing the keeper. I just think, yeah, he's good enough. No, I don't like that. I think he's got to be close to being first team keeper.
Yeah, I mean, he was a free transfer as well from West Brom. I can't deny what I would probably have gone for him as well in your situation. Moosdale. It's a question, actually, is who you actually think's better. I kind of think
this is right,
Kane Steele's better than Moosdale, but Moosdale is your number 1 right now. The other 2 goalkeepers that you did sign, I think you've either got rid of or loaned out or something, or pushed them into the youth team. I don't know. They've just disappeared into the black hole. But so many goalkeepers coming in. But, I mean, the last time I spoke to you, the season that we've had 2 seasons in between. This is the start of season number 11 now.
Yeah.
Your recruitment has still been solid. Yeah, there's been a couple of questionable ones, whether you would have gone for him or not. But I still think the recruitment has been solid the last couple of seasons. The likes of Federico Perilla coming in. That is a quality
this guy could be really good for me.
Carlos Enrique, who you are locking into a position that he is not natural in right now.
Yeah.
Advanced playmaker.
And I think I've training him in that position as well.
Yeah,
I think so.
He's really good. He's fantastic. And I mean, that 17 for finishing.
What a player coming up behind, in behind your sort of your strike force as well. I'm really looking forward to having that player in my team. So got a few hard games coming up now, though. And
that's the trouble.
I've started
a difficult month.
Yeah, I started well. Look at it now: Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City.
Especially off the back of a couple
losing
of losses,
against Arsenal as well.
Losing to West Ham. Do you fancy your chances? I mean, in the Premier League right now, obviously you haven't gone up massively, but you've gone up and not sort of dropped off to where you were. It was like a 12th place, 11th place. Compared to that 15th
I think I've improved
season.
it 2 spaces each time or something like that. It's been, isn't it? So you're looking at 9th, so I'm looking at 7th. Oh, I'm going to be there or thereabouts. I'm going to stick my neck out and go, where Man United are now 7th, that's where I want to finish.
In a,
there
like
or
a
there
lower
above.
European spot.
Yes. I could do with, like, just get myself into one of the European spots, especially the
Conference League.
Conference
Europa
League,
League,
yeah. Just to give me a bit of experience of being in there for the team.
And the money too.
And the money, yeah, because that's obviously that'll come in a big hand, you know. So
it helps build reputation as well, which is a big thing with recruitment. So there's a lot of benefits.
I think my reputation's got a lot better now. I'm finding it easier to buy the better standard player, which you can see by the players that I have got
3.5-star reputation, continental.
So I'm not far off it really. I just need a really good season. Hopefully I've got a couple of good players. I'm sort of like putting a lot onto that young striker I've got there now. He could be really good for me.
He could be, you're right.
And the midfield player. I've locked him in. Hopefully he just gets better and better, and then I'm going to be quite a strong side. I know I've got 2 goalkeepers.
At least. And this season was a much more progressive one, with players like Perillo really stepping up and scoring the goals that his attributes suggest that he is capable of doing. Again, though, there are some rough patches through the middle of the season, but Dad's end of the season was absolutely spectacular, winning all the games but one after losing to Sheffield United and finishing in 9th place. That win would have took him into a European football position, but still, FA Cup in the 5th round, 3rd round by Arsenal. Overall, it's a fantastic season. Yet again, though, it's another temporary relocation to Ashton Gate as they look to expand Hewish Park once more, and they've got money because £107 million in the transfer budget for Dad to spend. A lot of departures in the summer, 3 players even left to go to Derby County, including Mantilla, who was one of the signings that was made on that left-hand side, but also one of his goalkeepers, in fact his main number 1 goalkeeper from last season, left to go to Manchester United for £40 million. Which of course meant Dad could sign another one, and he brought in the English goalkeeper Tom Westwood, £35 million from Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia. There were some big signings this summer though, with Ilyas Azizi coming in from Toulouse for over £60 million, a really good centre attacking midfielder, and then another £60 million being spent on Didier Adam. Again, a really quality French player who plays up front. Some really good value in the free transfer market. Again, Christopher Peter looking like he could be a really good solid player with his value of over £100 million after a free transfer moving from Real Betis. And again, we have a slight tweak to the system using an asymmetric formation, but Didier Adam has been secured in the role as the striker for this season. But will he hit the ground running and allow Dad to progress into a European spot and maybe even challenge for that Premier League trophy? Well, he will certainly become a cult hero here at Yeovil Town, because in the final of the Carabao Cup, he scored the winner against Manchester City. A 3-2 win with Didier Adams scoring the winner in the 67th minute. Across the season, he scored over 30 goals, which allowed Dad to also celebrate the fact that Yeovil Town will be playing in the Europa Conference League next season. A trophy, Dad. Carabao Cup.
I'll take it. Any cup I'll take at the moment.
Beat Man City in the final as well.
What a result that is as well, isn't it?
Quality result.
So where they finished 3rd in the league, so
European football next season.
I mean, that means more to me, finishing in 6th with the European qualifications, yeah, definitely. But bit of silverware, you got to take that, and you're really one of the major trophies as well. So yeah, good for the crowd, good for the team, good for the morale.
Didier
really
Adam
pleased
as well.
Yes,
30 goals this season across
good sign
all
for me.
games.
That was good signing for me.
24 in the league. He got 32 across the whole season. I mean, it says Europa Conference League right now. You know what it's like. Sometimes it could be Europa League, depending on what it gets to at the start of the season. But yeah, he's been a highlight for you. And switching around to this tactic, locking him in.
Yeah, took a chance with one up front.
Yeah, he's been really good. But
got good players around him though.
£60 million, you're hoping for that, really.
Yeah, there's a couple of players I got in different positions now that are really good. Could be becoming world-class players.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy here, he's getting there. If he's not already there.
In the last couple of seasons,
I mean, for a midfield player, for a finishing of 18, you can't ask for no more. And his strength is and all that is all there.
Yeah, Azizi had a good season as well.
He's good as well.
Development.
Yeah.
Peter, who's been here for a few seasons now, really good as well on that
really
left side.
Starting to build that team now, aren't I?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, after the season, though, you just lost your goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm still not. I still got a good one in, which was less than what I sold the other keeper for. I think I sold the other keeper for 40 million.
Yeah, so
and got him for 35, so £5 million profit.
Yeah.
I've got to be happy with that. My defence, they're all youngsters as well. I mean, they're good defenders as well. But
transfer budget as well, 103.
Oh yeah, I can believe it.
Starting to get some big budgets.
This is it now. This is it. This is where I'm gonna. You're nearly there. Then you just got to push on a bit more now. Am I really?
Yeah.
I'm in Europe. See how I get on. I mean, with the team that I can build, I've got a really good side there. I could be pushing to get that European trophy.
Yeah, just don't waste the money. I know what you like.
There's probably another keeper there or something, isn't it?
Yeah, you'll go, he looks good. And you think, your defence is screaming out for a good centre-back. And no, you sign a backup goalkeeper. All right, well, let's see what you do with the budget. Back to Hewish Park, we now have a 24,000-seater stadium and more job interview offers as Tottenham have come in. I bet this one was tempting. This summer window, though, going into season number 12 was the biggest one yet, with £93 million on the outs and £274 million on the ins. £100 million being spent on a centre midfielder that, you're all going to question, why has he done that? I was too. Ahmed Rocha, £80 million from Brentford, seems like much better value. He seems like a decent striker nonetheless. Pedro Simo for £45 million from Valencia, a much better centre-back, although only having 11 jumping reach. Carlos Alberto, £28 million for a decent centre midfielder. And then finally, we've got Franco Chavez, £20 million, the money that was spent on another centre-back, with a free transfer and Tony Milambo coming in on a free, which, that's not too bad either. Tactically switching things up to a 4-2-2 narrow, and we've got a few players that have been locked in. Chavez into that left-sided centre-back slot. We've got Peter here, Christopher Peter, the free transfer from last season, being locked in as an advanced playmaker, and rightly so. He looks great. And Carlos Enrique into that attacking midfield role. He now is a monster and could be crucial in terms of goals with that 18 finishing and 15 composure with 17 off the ball from an attacking midfield position. But a really good start to the season in the Premier League, beating Chelsea 3-0 being the highlight and winning 4 out of 4. But is this the season that Dad can challenge the big boys up front? Can he put Yeovil Town at the top of the Premier League? Well, they actually rate a preview of him being the 3rd best team to do so. They picked up another trophy, and it's back-to-back Carabao Cups with another win over Manchester City at Wembley in a 6-3. What a thriller match. However, that wasn't the only trophy that Yeovil Town won this year, as remember, it was their first season in a European competition. They ended up qualifying for the Europa League and got all the way to the final, defeating Red Bull Salzburg 3-0 to lift the Europa League trophy. But as great as that achievement is, that's not the ultimate trophy that Dad is after with this Yeovil Town side. So did he do it this season? Oh, a 3rd place finish. You're knocking on the door.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, when you see some of the players I've bought this season, I was in.
I'm shocked he's not the top scorer.
No.
That's the thing. They're both down there.
Yeah.
Rocha got 15, Perilla got 14, Azizi got 13.
I expected more of them, but finishing 3rd, what you get? He's world class already.
Yeah, he's composure 20.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic player.
Oh, definitely.
Age 22, the development on it. But what a season. European trophy for Yeovil Town. Another Carabao Cup win, laughing at Man City. 2 seasons in a row you've beat them in the final and even close to winning the FA Cup. Only the semi-final exit by Everton.
Oh, that was a pity, yeah.
But you are knocking on the door.
In there.
Big win in the Europa League.
That's a big win for me. I mean, that's probably more of an achievement than it was finishing 3rd in the league, I think. Because I know I had the good team to do it, but it's the results against foreign teams, and you come up against different formations that they play, things like that. So it's a little bit harder when you get into Europe, isn't it?
I mean, you did really well. In the league phase, you won all 8 games. It was a solid performance, and you didn't really play anybody amazing in there. No. Southampton seemed to have developed quite a good team in this, but you beat them in the semi-final. They were really good. You only beat them on penalties as well. But if you're looking at the Premier League, they finished down in 12th.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show how difficult the Premier League is, because they won all 8 of their European games as well. But what a solid season. Is it within striking distance next season?
It's one of those things, isn't it? It's such a good season. You think, can I get better? It really all depends on what the budget's going to be, who I'll buy, because there's probably a couple of more positions I could sort of do with strengthening, but I've got to be knocking on the door, surely.
Yeah.
The team, the players that I've got at the moment, and they're youngsters as well. I haven't got anybody that's sort of like you think.
Goals.
Yeah, I haven't got anybody there you think they're at their end of their career.
Yeah.
my first 11 are all there or thereabouts in their prime. So, I'm sort of like, yes, come on.
Well, your transfer budget is 161 million.
There you go. And look at the wage budget as well.
Huge wage budget. And there's probably money to be made there. I mean, 100%. You just signed Malambo on a free transfer. He's worth nearly 70 million. Yeah. So, and you only played 20 games, so I know what you're like. You'll be trying to get rid of some of them. But, I mean, you locked in a few players, and it paid off massively because Chavez looks quite good. Peter playing him in a more central role, that seems to work really well. He's got the attributes for it. So I think that was crucial. But Carlos Enrique...
Yeah, because I moved him up and sat him beyond the strikers. Yeah. Because, I mean, you've got it. When you've got finishing of 18 in that position, you've got to be putting him there in you. So, I moved him up and it's paid off.
I think you're really lucky because there's not a lot of clubs coming in for your players.
It's so surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, they're only coming in for like Didier Adamler, who is a backup, really. Yeah. He's played 20 gun games. Like, normally, that Carlos Enrique would have been gone, snatched from you straight up.
Well, and you always get the players coming in and saying, I want to, you get an offer coming in, why don't you let me go to the bigger teams?
They're loving it at Yeovil.
Well, at the moment, you can see why. I'm the biggest team there.
Yeah, so third play, going into season number 14, everything seems to be going well for Yeovil Town. If you beat them enough times, they'll ask you to join them, and that's exactly what Manchester City have done if they've asked Dad to come in to interview for the Manchester City manager's role. Despite having such a big budget, more players did leave the club. £56 million for Nicky Ardley, who wasn't really getting a lot of game time now. Acevedo, he has been a fantastic player for Dad, has also left the club and gone to Fulham for £24 million. And there's some even £108 million going out with Malambo, who came in on a free for £43 million, and Carlos Alberto for £36 million. Not the good one, there was two Carlos Albertos. But you need to be selling these players to allow you to have the money to bring in world-class replacements, just like this defender, who can play across the back three, mainly a centre-back, and he is absolutely fantastic for £90 million, going up to 108. £170 million on Fabio Jose, another Brazilian from Inter Milan, a left-footed CDM that Dad has decided to bring in to shore up his defensive midfield. Another world-class left-back was brought into the club, the Colombian, 28 years of age from Al Feta in Saudi Arabia for £64 million. And then two backup midfielders in Sarr from Tottenham for £25 million and Kefram Turan for £14 million from Juventus. Season 14 is probably like every other season so far in the fact that Dad is rocking a new system in a 4-3-3 formation with two defensive midfielders. Quite a well-balanced tactic in all honesty, allowing him to utilise the three up front that he has really gone and developed into world-class strikers, and bringing in the midfielders that he has brought in and allowing his world-class fullbacks to do some damage on the wings. But a sign of great things to come as they defeated Manchester United in one of the first games of the season, 5-1. And with only dropping points to Chelsea 2-2 away from home, the Premier League title could be in sight this season, and the season preview predicts that they actually drop down to 6th place. Of course, changing formation even after winning the European trophy, that's just what you do, but it's going to something that I know you enjoyed using and enjoyed some success with the three up front. Yeah. Especially with these three there.
It's probably it is my favourite tactic. This is with three up front in it, and to win anything, you've got to have strikers of this calibre in those three positions. Yeah, and I just think you just can't get any better than what I've got at this present moment. Those three positions. So yeah, I've got to go for it.
All right. So your first season in the Champions League as well. Obviously, we're only targeting the Premier League, but the fact that you're in the Champions League, I mean, will be quite nice to win it. And some big teams being in there.
And I got to go to hell as well.
Barcelona and Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, it's a good
away trip in Galatasaray.
You can't get it much harder than that, can you? Barcelona.
Welcome to the Champions League, Yeovil fans. Yeah. Like a couple of nice days out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's going to be an hard challenge for me. I'm not expecting to do too much. I'd like to get into the knockoff stages of that tournament. Yeah. But yeah, Premier League.
Premier League is the main focus.
If I don't win anything else but win the Premier League, I'm happy.
All right, well, let's see then. Season number 14. The Champions League was a fun ride. Dad eventually took his Yeovil team to the knockout playoff round where Inter Milan was the side to eliminate them 5-4 on aggregate. But the league phase did see him enjoy 4 wins at home, including a victory against Inter Milan, a 6-1 against Basel, and all of the home fixtures a big win. 1 draw away from home to Celtic and 3 losses where if any travelling Yeovil fans did go, they went and seen themselves score at the Nou Camp against Barcelona. They did, however, lift a brand new trophy this season in the FA Cup, and guess who they beat? Of course, it was Dad's beloved Spurs in the FA Cup final at Wembley 2-1. But the question is, did he win the Premier League? Well, there it is, Dad. Challenge complete. Yeovil Town are Premier League winners, and by a mile.
I've only lost 2 games. And
96 points.
15 points in the Premier League. Wow.
Unbelievable. Only lost to Everton and Man City, both away games.
Yeah.
Everton finishing second.
So you take that as well, when you. I mean, when you look at the teams below me, you've got to hope that they're going to have bad seasons, and I think they all had a bad season all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've jumped in and took the chance.
Yeah.
Look,
he's the top scorer of the league, 37 goals. You can see why Everton are really good.
You can see why they pushed me all the way.